Hi, I'm Dr. Chelsea Greer, and I'm an assistant professor of psychology here at Spring Hill College. So this is a bit about my vocational story, and it's not real short or simple. I didn't get to the place that I am now very directly. So I hope you'll stick with me as I explain kind of my ups and downs and roundabout way of getting to the career that I have now. When I started out looking at going to college, I knew I wanted to work with people and study humans. I thought that would be the most interesting thing that I could do. But honestly, the idea didn't go much further than that. I had some really good classes in undergrad, but I didn't really have any particular direction about what was I going to do with this degree. I was enjoying classes. I had one professor who really inspired me to learn more about the subject, but I didn't really know where I was going to go with it. When I finished, I applied to a few different types of graduate programs, which I will say now isn't the most helpful thing to do. You need to pick one direction and go for it. But anyway, I tried a couple of different things. I actually got into a school psychology program, but at the same time, I had just gotten married and decided that my husband would take a job in a different area of the state. So I turned it down and we moved. And I had my own little quarter-life crisis at 22, not knowing what was going to happen next. So along the way, the church that we were at, where my husband was actually the lead minister, that's why we had moved, the chair of a counseling program happened to be at that same church. I got to know her, and she seemed to think that this program was the right fit for me. I was interested in it, but I wasn't totally sure if counseling is what I had wanted to do, since school psychology, which is much more assessment-oriented, was what I had been going towards. But I went for it. I tried this program. Again, I'm going to be totally honest, I didn't really know what I was going to do with this, but I decided it seemed like a good direction to try to figure out what I was doing. So I went into this program. So this was a master's in counseling, but all three faculty had doctorates in counseling psychology. And things shifted for me in that program. I realized that I really identified with the perspective of counseling psychology. There is a holistic view of people and an appreciation of multiculturalism and diversity at every level that just resonated with me. It made sense with lots of things I had experienced in life. And I thought, okay, this is the field that I need to be going into. And one particular experience in that program really helped that solidify for me. I was taking a summer class, and we had to teach the class. So this was a small amount of students, and our professor said, each of you are going to come in one day this summer, and you're going to lead the whole class, which to me was terrifying. But I kind of threw myself into it. I decided to see what I could come up with. And in the end, it turns out I absolutely loved it. So that really finally gave me the direction that I had been looking for. I wanted to teach, and I wanted to further my education in counseling psychology. So I moved on from there. I was fortunate enough to be accepted into a doctoral program and work with a researcher who was looking at forgiveness. And I really wanted to look at religion and well-being in some sort of way. And not many people were looking into that at the time. And this is just a decade ago. It was so new that there were just a handful of people in the country. So it was really exciting to get to work with that advisor. So anyway, I told you this was not a quick story. Kind of got on my way in that program, started to research the topic that I wanted to research, and see that there were things I could really do with it, and that it might actually be interesting to other people, not just me, which again was very exciting. So finished up that program, secured my first teaching position here at Spring Hill College, and I'm getting to do the thing that I had been setting out to do. So at the end of this story, obviously I just shared certain points of it. There's a few recommendations that I would make to you that I've learned mostly from making mistakes, but also just from being really fortunate to have great people in that journey. So one thing I would say is, I think one of the reasons I didn't have great direction with what I could do with my career early on is because I didn't ask questions about it. I had resources around me I could have made better use of, And I guess I just figured I would figure it out at some point. But I wasn't as active as I could be in the process. The second piece is, one of the things that really helped me along this long journey was having a mentor at every stage of the process once I was in graduate school. So that's really where it started. The woman I went to church with ended up being a personal and professional and spiritual mentor for me, who I would talk regularly to, and really got to know me very well so that she could guide me well. She knew not just to give me blanket advice, but to know what strengths and weaknesses I had to help me out. And then that continued into my other program, and really made a difference for me getting that far. The last piece I will say is, even though I've gotten into the position that I wanted to get into, I'm teaching now. For some reason, after I finished my doctorate, I've still had a tendency to compare myself to bigger researchers who are doing, I guess, more traditional work in our field. With a doctorate in psychology, a lot of people go into full-time practice or research institutes. I didn't want to do either one of those. I wanted to be at a teaching college, and I'm glad that I am. And over the past few years here, I've had to learn more. I've had to learn that I can do what I want to do well here. It really doesn't matter if my career looks like traditional ones. That's not really what matters. I have my own skills and talents to use from the education that I have, and I am using them. So my recommendation to you, it's a lot of things, but listen to those pieces. Be really active in trying to figure out what the best fit for you is. Don't just listen to anybody's advice, but talk to people who know you really, really well. Part of that might be getting to know some of your professors really well so that they can advise you along the way. And also, just find something that really does fit for you. There's going to be pieces of work that you don't love, and you just have to do them. And that's just life. But once you find your spot, you need to, use the talents that you do have and not really worry about, does this career path look like what others' paths might look like? Does it look like what I think it's supposed to look like, or other people in my family? It doesn't really matter. If you can get into something that you really enjoy, use what you got and enjoy it.